Alright guys, welcome to the Assassin's Creed Q&A. I want to thank everybody who sent in questions. This was a lot of fun to do. And yeah, as always, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means YouTube either marked it as spam or didn't have it at all on here. So I do apologize for that. Anyway, let's get into the question, starting with James Fan 1991, who asks, I think the Red Hood from DC Comics would make a great member. Would make it as an assassin, as a member of the Creed. What do you think? I think that he'd be a little too hot-blooded for their group. Honestly, I think because honestly, the assassins need to be patient. They need to be calm, and sadly, he's not one. Jason isn't exactly one of those things. In fact, he's none of those things really. So therein lies the problem, that he's a little too high-strung for their order. So I would have to say no. Second question, another DC question. What do you think Batman will think of the Creed? You think he would be happy with the fact that they just kill people, kill all their enemies? No, I don't think he'd be happy with them at all. In fact, I think he would equate them to something like the League of Assassins, really, which is, yeah, Assassin's Creed, League of Assassins. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would not condone their actions and try to take them down as much as the Templars. Anyway, third question. What would an Assassin's Creed game look like if it was set in the future? Oh, you mean like present time? Because let's face it, technically speaking, all the, the sub-story is set in the future. Our future. So yeah, like an Assassin's Creed Beyond, maybe like flying cars and shit. Maybe it'd probably look like something out of Blade Runner. Probably that would be the case. So thank you for those questions, James Fan. Moving on now to James asks. Wait, those were James questions. So moving on now to I'm getting spaced out here. Franz Zamor, who asks, if a Assassin's Creed game took place in the Star Wars universe, who would you want to be the main character? I don't think I would go with anyone from the main cast, honestly. I think I would like to go with somebody who would be a new character. Probably maybe a Mandalorian or something like that, because they're really good at killing. So maybe something like that. Second question. What would be your story for the game? My story? I guess, like, asking me what I would do for what would I make out of an Assassin's Creed game? I guess maybe finally do ninjas, or actually have an Assassin's Creed game set up in Five Points, New York. Yeah. Anyway, third question. If you could have any guest character from any movie, book, comic, show, and game, what would you want to be? Who would you want in the game? Maybe Ra's al Ghul would be cool. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's immortal, and I'm pretty sure he's dealt with assassins before. So Ra's al Ghul would be one. I would even say maybe Ford from Gravity Falls. Maybe he's looking into the Templar Order, something like that. Anyway. So maybe those guys. So thank you for those questions, Fran. Fran, I hope I'm saying that name right, and I apologize if I completely messed that up. Moving on now to Dreadman, who asks, thoughts on Clay, on Subject 16. I always mess up that last name. Subject 16 is a very interesting character. I would have to say, I feel like there's something we don't know enough about him, you know what I mean? I feel like there's not enough there there's stuff to talk about there, but really, it's a hard subject to talk about because it's an interesting character, but he's not exactly he's a character I feel like we haven't heard the last of. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's more to Clay's story. All right, second question: do you believe that Connor could have handled? Do you believe that Connor could have been handled better, or should have had a longer story in another game? Jesus, his story was long enough. Like, seriously, I feel like that game was pretty long in and of itself. And don't get me wrong, Black Flag and the other Assassin's Creed games are long too. Like, they are long as balls, but... Connor's, I felt like... Connor Kenway's story felt like it went on for a while. Even Edward's felt a little quicker at times. But, yeah. I still liked it, don't get me wrong. It's just that I felt like, yeah, it was long enough. But I could see, like, maybe going back to do another game would be... I wouldn't have a problem with that. Sticking to those questions, Dreadman. Moving on now to Andrew Varney, who asks, Assassin's Creed Doctor Who crossover, how would you write it? I think what I would do is have it set in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and have the, Vastra's gang hang out with the characters from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That would be fun, since it's kind of close to the same time period, so I'd be fine with that. Second question, Assassin's Creed Hellsing Ultimate crossover, what happens? Maybe have it that Templars are trying to take over the government in Britain after the fallout from, the Battle of Britain, the Battle of London, where, the knights, the knights, why am I Iscariot? That's the word I was looking for. Got away from me. Where Iscariot and Millennium and Hellsing all waged war, and yeah, it's been left in ruins. And now the Templars see this opportunity to try to take it over. And at the same time, when Alucard, Integra has discovered this, she's trying to stop this plot without Alucard. But at the same time, she's recalling. She kind of recalls a mission that Alucard once undertook a long time ago, a story he told her of encountering Templars and Assassins long ago in his time period of being Vlad the Impaler. I don't know, something like that. That's the loose idea. Altair, so third question. Altair, Ezio, Connor, and Edward all end up stuck in the Mortal Kombat universe. What might happen to each of their fatalities, and how long could they survive? Pretty well. I don't know what each of I don't know what kind of fatalities I would give them right off the bat. Maybe, stupid chair. Anyway, I don't know what kind of fatalities I would give them precisely, but maybe something along the line of, for Edward at least, maybe having that he just jams both of his cutlasses into your sides, then pulls out both of his muskets, aims them right directly at your eyes, and just fires away. Something like that. So think of those questions, Andrew. Moving on now to Lydia Cebrios. I always mess up that name, I'm sorry. First question, would you like to see a female assassin as the main protagonist of a new name? Well, we kind of got one with in Syndicate, but I wouldn't mind another female assassin. We've only had, what, two? 2 or 3 at most. And I'm not talking like, oh, but there are female assassins. Yeah, but you hardly get to play as a female assassin, so I wouldn't be against it. I would like to see a third time around, or technically fourth, because we did get a female assassin in Assassin's Creed China, really. Alright, second question. What characters, live-action, TV, film, animation would fit in the Assassin's Creed universe? Kind of already answered this, Lydia, so, yeah. Third question. What would happen if the characters in the game had force capabilities, and how would they use their powers? Probably for using, the Jedi mind trick, or force choke to get information, maybe force drain for others, a few things like that. Second of those questions, Lydia. Moving on now to Alexander Inayez, who asks, be honest, how much do you really give a shit about the storyline in the modern era? I sure as hell don't. His words, not mine. And I gotta say, I gotta agree with him. I've never really cared about, the main plotline. I understand it's a big thing. I really do. I understand that it's a big, overarching thing that's going to take a few more games to fully explain. But let's be honest, guys. Who's giving a shit, really a big shit about that? I mean, even when you played as Desmond Miles, I was like, come on, I want to go back to play. I want to go back to playing Altair, or going back to play Ezio, or go play back as Connor. Come on, man. That's the same thing with when I was playing Black Flag. Oh my god. Oh, that was a bad mispronunciation. Oops. Black Flag. Oof. That came out wrong. Glad I caught that. Black Flag. in those moments where you had to step out of the animus, I was like, oh, come on, I don't give a shit. I don't care about these little mini games. I want to go back and play my game. I want to go back and be a pirate. Come on. Anyway, so yeah, I've never really cared. If you guys care, that's totally fine. I've just never given a shit. I just want to go back to being, badass assassin. Alright, second question. Favorite weapon in Assassin's Creed besides hidden blades? That's a tough one. Smoke bombs are always cool, and I'm betting now that you're a fan of Randy Cunningham, Alex, and I know you're watching this because obviously I'm answering your question here. No shit. I'm kind of betting that every time in Black Flag, whenever you use a smoke bomb, you're like, smoke bomb! Because now Randy Cunningham, Ninja, assassin, whatever. You get the joke. So smoke bombs are cool. The rope darts, a little difficult, but they're fun to use. The matchlock gun in Assassin's Creed 2 was pretty fun too. But all in all, those are just a few. Third question: how did you get into Assassin's Creed in the first place? Really, my brother and I had bought No, did we buy or did we borrow? No, well, bottom line is we got Assassin's Creed, the first game, and I just sat back and watched my brother play, and I usually just watched him play because he was better at it than I was. I was really the only game I really mastered, and I've had to go back and play the other games to master them, was Black Flag. So, because I'm not good at sneaking, guys. I hate sneaking. I have no patience for it. So I had to train myself to be, sneaky and shit, to learn to play those, play all the games. So that's kind of the long, short version of it. Second of those questions, Alex. Moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, which Assassin's Creed do you like better, Assassin's Creed 3 or Black Flag? As much as I like Connor Kenway, I gotta go with his grandpa, Edward. I love the real open world experience. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cool places you can go in Connor's story, but you've got the entire Caribbean to sail through in Black Flag. It's so open world. You could just go out cruising on your ship. That's it. You could just spend hours cruising on your ship, just attacking anything that moves, really. And yeah, you can just do all that and have just a gay old time, like they say in the olden days, a gay old time. So yeah, I would have to say, as much as I like Assassin's Creed 3, I gotta give it to Assassin's Creed 4, really. It's more open world, more fun, and it gives you a really great pirate experience as well. It's probably been one of the best pirate games, if not the best pirate game ever. Anyway, second question: which country would you like to see Assassin's Creed game be set in next? Okay, why am I tripping over my words today? Oh my god. Japan. I'd like to see the feudal era. That would be a lot of fun. Maybe during the Spanish Inquisition. That'd be an interesting time period. I would even like to see... Apparently we're not going to get... the two they said that they're not going to do is World War II and the Civil War, which I'm like, you'd think that would make a lot of sense. But for some reason they just did not... They don't feel comfortable with doing either the Civil War or World War II. World War I, on the other hand, I would like to see that, World War I would be a fun one. Something like that, maybe. So those are just a few places. Anyway. Oh, the 20s. Yeah, the 20s would be really cool. Like, 20s LA in the 20s. Just make it like LA Noire, but you're an assassin instead. Something like that. Anyway. So, third question. What will happen if Edward Kenway suddenly met up with Jack Sparrow? Oh, he'd get tired of his shit real quick. He would just get generally tired of that man's bullshit and just be like, oh, shut the fuck up. Second of those questions, Andre. Moving on now to Dylan Malone, who asks, have you read any of the AC novel, Assassin's Creed novels and comics? And if so, which are your favorites? I haven't read any of the Assassin's Creed novels. I read actually a little bit of the story talking about Corvo. Not Corvo. Oh, God, what's his name? the assassin from Rome, from the Roman era. And I read a little of that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I never finished it, though. But yeah, I think I might go back and read that. Anyway, second question. If you could make an Assassin's Creed TV series, how would you do it, and how would you, what will you do, and how will you do it? Assassin's Creed TV series, probably put it on Netflix, and set it with a different character. Maybe set it in, like I've always been saying, 5 Points, New York, or set it around, the feudal era of Japan. Something of that nature, or have it, have it with a new character, something of that matter, because we are getting a different character instead of Desmond Miles in the Assassin's Creed movie, so fingers crossed on that, how well. I have a really good feeling about the Assassin's Creed movie. Anyway, I don't know exactly, but something like that. In your honest opinion, what do you think about the Assassins versus Templars war on a whole? Meh. They're just warring it out, and I'm just in the middle of it, like, yeah, as long as you give me something to kill and I can free roam, yay! Anyway, second question. What are your thoughts on Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Love it! It's probably my favorite of the Assassin's Creed games, honestly. I haven't played a lot of Syndicate, so maybe the more when I get further into Syndicate, as soon as I get a PS4, I'll be able to play more of it. Yeah. Second question. Assassin's Creed and Steven Universe crossover. How will you do it? Maybe have it that the Templars want the crystal gems to use as weapons and the Assassins try to help them out? I don't know. Is there a part of the franchise where Edward gathers up his fellow assassins for... Oh, is there a part of the franchise where Edward gathers up his fellow assassins for one big epic battle? Not that I know of. I think that happened kind of in Unity, but not in Edward's time. Anyway. So, moving on now to Spawn117. Thank you for those questions, Nicholas. Moving on now to Spawn117, who asks, out of all the assassins, who is your favorite assassin? Edward. I really enjoy Edward's story of being... He wasn't even a member of the Creed. He was just an asshole who killed a traitor, took his clothes, and tried to get off with some money. And you followed his story of being this, this blackguard and trickster to becoming a fully realized character and a staunch member of the Creed. You really did feel for this character when he messed up bad, and you followed his mistakes. He lived the pirate's life. What more can you say? So yeah, Connor's story's also really good. The clashing ideals thing just kind of went on between him and his dad, and I was like, I don't bother with it. I don't want to bother with this. Even my brother was kind of my brother, who's I've said this before. He's in the military and he's a historian buff. He didn't really like the whole clash of ideals of revolving around the founding fathers. He's like, man, this game gets really preachy. That's the problem with Assassin's Creed 3. It got real preachy. But I think so Connor would be third place. My second place would go to Ezio. Altair's cool, but that dude was already a badass to begin with. It was cool to see Ezio's story because you followed him for a very long period of time, and you've watched him grow from this kid who watched his father and brothers die to a man who, wanted vengeance and to protect the Creed at all cost. So that's what I really liked about Ezio's story. So, but Edward first, Ezio second. Out of all, what's your favorite Assassin's Creed game? I already answered that. That's Black Flag. Third question: what anime would you think would work as a crossover with Assassin's Creed? What anime would make a good Assassin's Creed crossover? Hellsing would be interesting. Yeah, like I said, Hellsing would be interesting. Maybe. Black Lagoon would also be pretty cool. And those are the only two that I can think of, really, so, yeah. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Spawn117, moving on now to Linerman0245, who asks, which anime character do you think would be a prime member for the Assassin's Brotherhood? what anime character would make a great, inductee into the Creed? That is an interesting question. I don't want to say someone like Naruto or Sasuke. I'm not the biggest Naruto fan, but I just don't think they would meld well with the Brotherhood as well. Maybe Shikamaru would be. Now that I say it, Neji and Shikamaru would probably make good assassins. So maybe them. If anyone's been watching Dimension W on Toonami, I would say Kyoma. Oh yeah, out of all of them, Kyoma. That's the one I'm going with. Kyoma from Dimension W. He would make a perfect member for the Brotherhood. If anyone, I've actually started to really enjoy. I've been watching Dimension W on Toonami, and I've been really enjoying it. So, anyway. Second question: in the world of Westeros, which family do you think the Templars would? Do you think the Templars would back the? Which houses would you think the Templars would back? I wouldn't say the Lannisters; they'd be against the Lannisters. Maybe Baratheon. Maybe they can manipulate Melisandre into doing their bidding and saying, "Oh, we work for the Lord of Light as well." Another house would probably be. Would be another group of Who else would the Templars manipulate outside of House Baratheon? Maybe the Greyjoys? Yeah, the Greyjoys. They're fucking dumb as it is. Anyway. Sorry to get something to drink. Third question. How would you feel if Treadstone from Jason Bourne was completely adopted by the Assassin's Brotherhood? Never really watched Jason Bourne. Wasn't a big Jason Bourne fan, so can't really answer that, sadly. But anyway, think of those questions, Linerman. Moving on now to Mike Root, who asks, if they made an Assassin's Creed mod in another game, which would be GTA or Fallout, what would the mod do? I'm not really the biggest mod guy, unless you're talking about Mod Pie. That was a great segue. I guess. I don't know. I can't tell you, dude. Second question. What would the Assassins think of these characters? Deadpool, Finn, Dan, and Samurai Jack, and Star Butterfly. All a bunch of loud, angry... Except Jack. Everyone except Jack would be like, you should not be part of this group. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Mike, moving on now to the Kane Matter Show, who asks... futuristic Assassin's Creed game. Already answered that. Second question. What DC villains who lived for centuries would be adversaries for individual assassins we see in the game? Vandal Savage. Yeah, I already said Ra's al Ghul in another game, so might as well go with the other immortal. Vandal Savage being a member of the Templars. That actually makes a lot of sense. Really. Him being joining the Templars makes sense. That's another thing I would like to see him cross over. Legends in Assassin's Creed. That might be interesting. Third question. Assassin's Creed story set in Japan. How epic would that be? Fucking amazing. That's how cool it would be. Fucking amazing. Damn right. Anyway. Thinking of those questions, Kane Matter, moving on now to Travis Rendon, who asks, if it was possible for them to meet, how do you think Connor would react to meeting Crazy Horse, and what would their interaction? Oh, Crazy Horse, the Indian. All right. I think there would be a mutual understanding, but I feel like Connor would feel like Crazy Horse's methods would be a tad too extreme, and just kind of putting more blame on his people, if anything. But I don't know for sure. Second question. Could you see an Assassin's Creed game taking place in medieval times or early Egyptian around King Tut's era? I think an Egyptian era game would be cool. I mean, the Egyptian Empire was still around when Rome was around, so I think that'd be cool. We kind of got one in medieval times with during the Crusades in the first game, so yeah. Do you think Adewale will have a full longer game rather than a DLC story? I would like to see Addy get a full-on story. I thought he was a great supporting character, and I enjoyed the Freedom Cry DLC. I feel like, yeah, you could do more stories with him. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for those questions, Travis. Moving on now to Fox Mulder, who asks, oh, favorite weapons, already answered that. Edward meets Straw Hat Pirates. What happens? Edward is embarrassed to be around the Straw Hat Pirates. He'd be like, oh, good lord. But he'd probably be trying to sleep with the women. I don't watch a lot of One Piece, so sorry. Who would win in a fight, Edward or Connor? That's a tough one. They're both equally matched in hand-to-hand fighting, but I feel like Edward's just that kind. Like he's just that kind of sneaky to do something like that, you know. So thank you for those questions, Fox. Moving on now to Shockwave Spider, who asks, what time periods would you love to see in future Assassin's Creed games? Already answered this one. Favorite game in the series? Answered it. And Shockwave also, would you like to see an Assassin's Creed TV series? Yes, I would, like I already answered. Oh, man, I feel so bad. All these questions I already answered, but I gotta stick to my rule. I will say that another time period that I would like to see, I'll answer this much. Another time period I think would be cool is a story set around maybe, what was it? I already said World War One. Maybe the Spanish-American War. That's a war no one talks about. So how about that? We settle around the Spanish-American War, and you team up with Teddy Roosevelt. That'd be kind of badass, really. Now that I think about it, assassins fighting alongside Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, and his manly mustache. Fuck yeah, and him going Roosevelt, Roosevelt, Roosevelt. If you know what I'm talking about with that, congratulations for getting that reference. Roosevelt, Roosevelt, Roosevelt. Anyway. Oh, Lord. So thank you for those questions. Regardless, Shockwave. Moving on now to George Baldito. I hope I'm saying that last name right, and I apologize. What way would you put Pen Zero in the world of Assassin's Creed? I think what I would do for a Pen Zero Assassin's Creed crossover is have it that Pen is sent on a mission. Pen, Sashi, and Boone are sent on a mission to I guess some point in the Assassin's Creed life, maybe Ezio's timeline, and they all are members of the not Ezio himself, but other assassins who have to rescue Ezio from Ripon, who is the Templar villain, and assassinate him. Something like that. There you go. Second question: how would Assassin's Creed work in Japanese samurai time? Oh, you mean the feudal era? I guess focus around a ninja. I would do something with Ezio's story, where you have a character who never knew about the assassins. Maybe his father or grandfather was a assassin, and his father or his uncle or grandfather is murdered and by a corrupt shogun who's working alongside the Templars, who have come to Japan to continue on with their plans. And he's now slowly using his skills as a ninja and a member of the Creed to avenge them and stop the ones who wronged his family. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, George. Moving on now to One of None, who asks, "What are your thoughts on the future?" Your thoughts on the future of the games? I really enjoy them. I think the games are going to be, are going to keep on coming until we get to the end of the storyline, which Ubisoft still says, "Oh, we're coming to the end now, guys. Get prepared. No more Assassin's Creed games." I'm like, shut up. You're going to milk this train out for as long as you can. Don't lie. Second question: favorite assassins in the games? Already answered that one. Mass Effect Assassin's Creed crossover. How would you do it? Perhaps maybe after the Templars lose, or the Creed loses, or they both have died out, maybe have it that Shepard is sent on a mission to retrieve an Animus from Earth before, I guess, someone tries to buy the Animus or something like that. I don't know. So thank you for those questions. One of none. Moving on now to Cody Lemix. I do apologize, Cody, for butchering the last name. Who do you and your question is, who do you think the Templars would support in the 2016 presidential election based on the candidates we have so far? Trump, Cruz, Kasich, Clinton, or Sanders? Probably Clinton. I feel like some of her ideals would fit Templar order. That or Cruz. I don't want to get political, but I feel like if the Templars were going to support anybody in that back any of those horses, it would be Trump or Cruz. Trump seems a little too extreme for them, and that's saying much. But Cruz and Clinton, possibly. I don't want to get political here. Connor meets Raul Mendez from Black Ops 2. What would happen between them? They go out and kick some ass. Haven't really played a lot of Black Ops 2, so I only barely know Raul, but what I've seen of him is total badassery. What era of history would you like to see the next Assassin's Creed game take place? The Wild West or during the Great Depression? Oh, which era would I pick? Okay, Wild West would be really good. Why didn't I think of that sooner? The Wild West would be really cool. That'd be a lot of fun, but try not to make it too much like Red Dead Redemption. And now that we're getting apparently a Red Dead Redemption 2, that's going to be a little difficult. Great Depression would be really cool. Gangsters and, there's such a great story. It's a really depressing time, hence the Great Depression, but still, I think you can get a lot of cool stories out of it. Like, have it set in Chicago. Boom, there you go. So, thank you for those questions, Cody. Next up, we have Media Detective, who asks, who in this universe do you think can kill Agent 47? I don't know. They all kind of use primitive weapons, and Agent 47 has guns that carry more than one bullet. So, I don't know. Even if all four of them teamed up, I don't know. They've got primitive weaponry, but they've got number and skill, so... That's a difficult one to say. Anyway. Second question. How do you think a team-up between an assassin and James Bond would go? Pretty well. I think, get the job done, kill everything in your path. That works out pretty well. Third question. Which characters from shows do you believe would be assassins or a Templar? Ford, Dipper, from Gravity Falls, they'd be assassins. Probably everyone in the Mystery Shack gang would be members of the Creed. Gideon, however, would probably be a Templar. That is the I'm trying to think here, like who else would be? Well, I guess Bella Lyca from Black Lagoon would probably be a Templar, or at least a supporter of the Templars, something of that nature. Anyway. Moving on now to thank you for those questions, Media Detective, and our final set of questions come from RoboKaiju75, who asks, have you played Assassin's Creed China, and if so, what are your thoughts on it being a 2D platformer instead of an open-world Assassin's Creed game? I didn't think it was bad, honestly. I just feel like playing a Shinobi game. Oh, it felt like I was playing a Shinobi game. Sorry. Yeah, it was all right. I'm more of an open-world type guy instead of a 2D platformer, so it was a little awkward for me to use, but yeah, it's not bad. Alright, second question. How would you do a TMNT Assassin's Creed crossover if given the chance? Maybe have it that the Templars have stolen Krang Krang or Utrom or whatever you want to call them technology, and now they're attempting to make a new Animus that can control people's minds or something of that nature, and the Turtles and I guess the Creed have to team up to stop them. There you go. Third question. Have you seen live-action Assassin's Creed miniseries called Assassin's Creed Lineage, and if so, what are your thoughts on it? I thought Lineage was pretty cool. I really did enjoy Lineage, thought it was pretty fun. At the same time, I was kind of thinking to myself, why can't we get this as a TV or Netflix show? Seriously, come on, let's do this shit. Anyway. Moving on now to, I guess, one more question. One more set of questions coming from Treva Smolka, who asks, who's your... Alright, already answered that. Favorite assassin. Opinion on Desmond Miles' character. Desmond was an okay character. I just never... Again, I never really cared about the modern-day story arc. I just wanted to go back to the past and, you know, do fun shit, you know? So, and even when he died, I was like, man, that just comes out of nowhere. I just get blindsided. I was like, really? That's how we're ending his story? He just touches an idol and goes, dead. I feel like there should have been more to him, you know? Anyway, final question. What is your opinion on Assassin's Creed post-Black Flag? Do you think the future timeline is screwed at this point? Because, in my opinion... Oh. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of awkward, you know what I mean? It's awkward to be using just a character, an unnamed character, instead of going with Desmond Miles. I feel like they shouldn't even have done Desmond Miles at all, because he's a, you know... if he ever died, then we'd care, and it feels awkward that now we're going with some unnamed character. And again, maybe it's just me. Maybe it is just me, and, you know, if you feel differently, that's totally fine. No ill will against you. I was just kind of thinking, I don't care about Desmond. I'd be okay if it was some no-name schmuck, which we got from Black Flag and then on. So I was kind of like, why didn't we do this in the beginning? Why did we need a guy named Desmond? And why did we suddenly have the urge to kill him off in the Game 3 if this game series was going to continue without him? It's weird. I don't know. Anyway, so that looks like it's all the questions, guys. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions. I'm kind of surprised I didn't get a lot of questions for this one. Maybe I did. Then again, I did post the Q&A prelude really late at night, so maybe that's the reason. And yeah, I'll probably do another Assassin's Creed Q&A in the future. But once again, thank you all once again. And also, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means YouTube either marked it as spam or didn't have it show up at all on the list. So, sorry for that once again. And yeah, hope you all enjoy... I've said it, hope you all enjoyed this 3 times. But yeah, I really do hope you guys enjoyed the Q&A. And I will see you guys later.